What's up, YouTube? Happy New Year and welcome to my pickups video for the month of December 2020. Actually did a little bit of travel that I just returned from. I decided to take a much needed vacation and visited Las Vegas, Nevada for the first time in about 3 years. Was going about every year for a while there, and then for some reason just haven't gone lately, and then obviously this year prolonged that gap even longer. But had a good trip, just got some nice R&R. Did visit a whole bunch of independent game stores there, of which they really have a surprisingly high amount for the size of the city, but ultimately didn't buy a whole lot of games from that trip. Much less than I expected. Overall, still got quite a few things this month, and some really cool stuff that came in the mail. Also, still have a lot of things that I'm expecting, because the USPS shipping situation has really become a nightmare over the last few weeks. And I think some of the things that I ordered in like mid-December might show up by mid-January if I'm lucky, based on current tracking information. But that's enough about kind of the current situation with shipping. Let's talk about the games I picked up this month. The first thing I'm going to go through is Sony systems. We'll start with PS1. And I did a really big order of PS1 import games this month from Surugaya. And if you've ever watched videos of people who are primarily YouTubers stationed in Tokyo or other parts of Japan, Surugaya is a retail store that's there. They have all kinds of Japanese fandom type stuff, but they have a lot of video games. And what I found out this month is they do mail order to the US, and all the prices are the exact same as what those YouTubers are finding in those stores in Japan. However, the shipping is, a little expensive, but the nice thing about it is it's a flat shipping rate. So as many games as you want to the US, it's the same price for the shipping. It makes sense to pile up and make a pretty big cart, and that's what I did this month. So what I went after is a obscure mix of PS1 Lightgun games that are Japan exclusives. If you've seen my recent video on the PS1 and PS2 Lightgun library, that I collected the full set of all the US releases. However, there are a lot more that are Japan exclusive. I got most of them with this batch that I did from this order, but there's still like one or two more that I'm looking for. So might do another video on that. But let's get started on this big stack of games that I got from Surugaya in Japan. So the first one of these is one that we did get here. This is Biohazard Gun Survivor. It was released here as Resident Evil Survivor. However, due to, I think, Columbine was a thing right around the era that this released, and Capcom decided to strip the GunCon support from this for the US version, so it only plays with the controller. But this is the Japanese version, and it fully supports the GunCon, and probably plays a whole lot better, because that game is really clunky with the controller. So, haven't dug into this one yet, but looking forward to it. This one's really cheap and easy to get. The next one I got is Mighty Hits. This was a early light gun shooter by Ultron. Kind of has a mixed track record as a developer. This one I think only supports the Justifier gun, so it does not support the GunCon. However, there's a revised version of this that was released as a budget release called Mighty Hits Special, and I think that one does have GunCon support and might also have some slightly different mini games and things that got built into it. So might get that one down the road, but this one is, just another one of the light gun games I wanted to get. The next one is a Namco exclusive that Japan got, and Namco, obviously the developer of the GunCon. This supports that. This one has kind of a weird title. I think it's called Rescue Shot Bubibo. It's the best I can translate this one, and it is kind of a light gun game aimed towards younger children, maybe even younger than like the Point Blank series. I haven't dug into this one too much yet, but it does look pretty cool in videos. Basically, it's you've got a character that's walking down a trail, and you're shooting all the things that are trying to attack it. So basically, you're protecting the main character of the game, although you're not actually playing as that character. So definitely want to check this one out. I like these Namco gun shooters, and there was another one that was exclusive to Japan that I already have. So very happy to get this one. I think this one did get a Euro PAL release, but not in the US for some reason. The next one is part of the Simple 1500 Yen series of budget titles. I don't expect a whole lot from these. This one is called, quite simply, The Gun Shooting, and this is volume 24 in the series, of which there's probably like 100 of. But this one does support the GunCon, I believe, if not the Justifier, and looks actually pretty decent from some of the videos I watched. I just haven't popped it in yet. And if you liked The Gun Shooting, you also can get The Gun Shooting Part 2. And so this is volume 63, so this one came out quite a bit later. This one definitely supports the GunCon, and again, just some videos I've watched of it. This one looks pretty good. So we'll hopefully, get my 1,500 yen or actually less worth out of those. This next one is probably quite possibly the weirdest of these that I picked up, but it is actually a light gun game, and it does support the GunCon, and that is Puffy, P.S. I Love You. This has the characters that I think got translated into a cartoon in the U.S. for younger audiences called like Puffy Amiyubi or something like that. I didn't follow it whatsoever. But it is, Japanese singers or whatever, pop stars, that have a light gun game, and there's a whole bunch of wacky mini games and things like that that have them as maybe the background, and then you're doing simple carnival type games with the light gun to play this. But it does support the GunCon, and I had to have it. So I've heard this one is a little bit obscure. It doesn't go for much, but just another weird sidebar of the light gun games we didn't get. This next one I like the theme of, but the videos I've seen of it don't really look that exciting. This is Gun 2, or Western Front, June 1944. So a very specific World War II themed light gun game. Does support the GunCon, but it is by a pretty small developer called Electrocoin Japan that I don't know a whole lot about. So again, we didn't get this one in the US, but maybe a PAL release of this one. I don't think so, though. I think this is Japan exclusive as well. And, again, I think the theme of this one's pretty cool, but the videos I've seen don't look that exciting, so I'll have to hook up a GunCon and see how it plays. The last one of these is one that I always thought would be pretty good, but I've never read good reviews about it, and I did play this one, and I can say, yeah, I understand why the reviews aren't so hot. This is the Game Paradise 2, and the Game Paradise is a very well-regarded shooter for the Japanese Sega Saturn, and also it got a re-release on the PS4 recently that's pretty decent, and I think a lot of people are fans of that. It is very much a fan service to Jalico characters. There's a whole bunch of Jalico characters in it, and also this one, and also it's very themed around gamers. So basically you have a stage where you're playing over a whole bunch of candy cabinets in a Japanese arcade and things like that. This one really continues the theme, but it changes the perspective of the game, so it's not like a strict, flat 2D shoot 'em up. It's more like a Raystorm type view, where you've got kind of a 3/4 view of the screen. But ultimately, it just doesn't play that well. I mean, I would much rather play Raystorm than play this. And then the GunCon angle of this, and why I wanted to get it, is a little bit weird. You can play as the second player can use the light gun to shoot, but the first player has to use the controller to shoot. Or you could do both at the same time, I guess. I would just take a lot of hand-eye coordination to hold the gun in one hand and try to do the controller in the other hand. But I was hoping this one would be a little bit better, but again, I've never read good reviews about this one, and nobody talks about this one. And it's kind of strange that this one is a PlayStation exclusive, while the other one was a Saturn game originally. So it does have a lot of cool Jalico fan service, a lot of characters from their really obscure history. And I guess you would really have to be a big Jalico fan to get into this, which I thought I was, but not enough to really tide me over. So, again, kind of neat to have it, but not one I would highly recommend. So that is all the PS1 light gun package that I got from Surugaya. I got one other thing from that shipment I'm going to show later in the video, but pretty neat just to, again, just tackle a whole bunch of games all at once for a flat shipping rate versus buying them all individually off eBay and then paying the shipping for all those. One other thing I got from that order, actually I'm going to hold off on that, I'll show you that in a minute. I did not get any PS2 games this month, but I did get a PS3 game locally that I just bought really cheap. I had zero expectations for this. I knew this was a system exclusive and also developed by Sony of Japan, and that is Puppeteer. And I will tell you right now, I played this more than anything else in this video by far this month, and probably anything more than I've played in the last few months. I was instantly addicted to this game. Again, I did not think I was going to like this at all. I just thought it was like some silly kids game, but it has a really creative 2D art style to it, with some really neat designs of the levels and how it plays. You've got a cool mechanic that really uses the DualShock 3 to full advantage, with all the buttons and both twin sticks and things like that to explore, and also use a whole bunch of weapons and things like that in the game. I like the theme of this game a lot. I like the voice acting. It's really, really well done. And I think that this game probably fell through the cracks because it came out in 2013 for the PS3, right when the PS4 was about to launch. So I think this one just, again, it was high quality production by Sony of Japan, but I don't think it was really that well received. I'm starting to see this one go up in price a little bit now, and I think this is one to watch, because I think that this one's going to be pretty difficult to find in the future. But I really am enjoying this, and we'll be playing this some more over the coming weeks. I would actually like to beat this game. It seems the levels are really long in this, I will say. If I could liken this to anything, it's, I know different like art style, but it feels very much like Yoshi's Island did the first time I played that. Just a really creative twist on a 2D platformer, and I really, enjoy how this game plays. So, can highly, highly recommend this one. I know I've seen this game in like other hidden gems videos and things like that, but I've just, sometimes it just becomes noise because so many things are called hidden gems. I think this one is really one to look out for. So, highly recommend that. Next, we'll talk about some PS4 games. So another game I got on the Vegas trip was one that was kind of an impulse purchase. Speaking of Jalico, this was also kind of created by the what's left of the ashes of Jalico, and this is Penguin Wars for the PS4. This was brought over to the US by a small developer called Dispatch Games, but this was created by the same company that brought out that Game Paradise remake of, again, Jalico characters. This is based on an old arcade game, which I have played, and it's pretty fun. I have not played this yet, because obviously I just got back from my trip, but I got this for $5, so I figured I might as well. It's not going to get any cheaper than that. I remember this game came out, I think, at a budget price to start with, but there can't be many of these out there, so I figured, can't lose that price. I don't expect a whole lot, but hopefully just some fun, arcadey type action. The other thing I got for PS4 is a new release. Believe it or not, I don't buy a lot of new releases, but this is one that I got. I pre-ordered a few months ago, and it came in while it was gone, so this was waiting for me on my porch when I came back from Amazon Japan. And one thing I can tell you is Amazon Japan and all these packages from Japan are arriving super fast, much faster than stuff is even taking to come from 3 states away. Go figure. But this was something I was really excited about. This is the latest in the M2 Shooter Collection series. What do they call it? The Shot Trigger series, and this is the Alesta collection. This is a great value, considering if you want physical carts of some of these original games, they are ungodly expensive. This has the game that we know as Power Strike in the US for the Sega Master System. It's the first Alesta series game. And then there was a sequel to that, Power Strike 2, also for the Master System. We didn't get in the US, and it has that on this package as well. It also has the 2 Game Gear exclusive Alesta games. So there's a Alesta 1 and 2, or GG Alesta, I guess is what they're called. There's part 1 and 2. And then my understanding is there's a brand new, like, imaginary 3rd game in the series using Game Gear hardware that they've added on the disc, because M2 is kind of crazy like that with some of the stuff they do. This is really cool. I think this is, kind of a nice tradition that M2 has going right now, and that they're releasing one of these shooter packs every Christmas season, and it seems to be just like a holiday release. They've done it, I think, the last 3 years in a row. It's just really neat to get one of these, and I will be playing this a lot, I'm sure. I just took the shrink wrap off, and I'll probably pop it in later tonight. And then the other thing it came with the pre-order is a art book, and it has this just really neat style of the original Master System artwork of Power Strike, or the Japanese version of that, I should say, which goes over the history of all the Alesta games. I would imagine there will eventually be a second volume of this that would have things like Musha and Space Megaforce and Robo Alesta that also continue the series beyond the Master System and Game Gear. But I think it's a really cool pack, and knowing M2, I'm sure the quality is going to be super high. It was a very full retail release, so that's the one thing I would say was kind of a downside, is it was like a 6,800 yen release when a lot of these arcade compilations typically come out a little bit cheaper. So happy to get it, and we'll be digging into that soon. So that is all the PlayStation series or system stuff that I got this month. One other game I got from that Surugaya order is for the Neo Geo CD, another system that I like to collect for. This is one of the shooters that I hadn't picked up yet, and really happy I got this one. This is ASO 2, or as we knew it in the US version, it is Alpha Mission 2. Alpha Mission, or the original, I know was an arcade game, part of like the early Alpha Denshi SNK type arcade games. But we did get a port of that one to the NES, so I have played Alpha Mission on NES quite a bit. I didn't really ever play this one, so I know this one was obviously big in the arcades in the early 90s. This was kind of an early Neo Geo release for cartridge, and then got brought to the CD when the CD system launched. This one doesn't go for a ton compared to some of the other shooters on the system, and I think it's well worth getting. If I could liken the style of it, it's very much like a Toaplan looking game, and obviously their shooters are excellent. So really like the style of this game. The levels in this one are also very, very long. I played this one for probably about 45 minutes, and I didn't beat it, and that's pretty good length for a Neo Geo arcade game of the era. So they actually did put a lot of value in this game, making the levels long, and then also several levels to play through. But really like this one, and can highly recommend this also if you like early vertical arcadey style shooters. One other game I got from my Vegas trip was a very cool complete-in-box Game Boy game, and this is Elevator Action. Obviously, it was originally a Taito arcade game, which I like all the Taito stuff. Taito did release this for Game Boy originally, and then this actually is a reissue that came out in the mid to late 90s when Natsume bought up some of their properties and reissued the stuff with the Natsume branding. So this isn't the original pressing of this game, but still one that I'm very happy to have in my collection. This one is in very clean condition. It has the original manual and poster and warranty card and all that stuff in the box as well, so really well kept. Just was happy to find this. The store that I got this from had several other complete-in-box Game Boy titles in, but they were really priced pretty high, and this is one that I had to have just because it was a Taito-related game, but some of the other ones I would have loved to brought home, you know, with a little bit bigger budget there. So just nice to see complete-in-the-box Game Boy games in the wild. I don't find them much in the Midwest, and I think there's more on the coasts. Just because people traveled more, maybe they bought more portable games due to the size of the territory out there compared to what I'm used to, the scale of the states and things like that. But always like finding complete original Game Boy games. So that is all the games I got this month, but I did get some other gaming related stuff. Let's talk about the other thing I got from the Surugaya order. This is something else that's been on my want list for a really long time, and it's been incredibly hard for me to get. This is the official Paddle Controller by Namco for the PS1. Believe it or not, they did make an Arkanoid-style controller for the PS1, and it's kind of strange because they really didn't support it that well with their own releases, but there are quite a few Japanese exclusives that do support this controller. Obviously, that's another little subset I'm going to probably start chasing. I don't know if I'm going to go for all of them, but it does work very well if you've ever used the Valve controller for Arkanoid on the NES. Very similar design, and then you've got just this nice little knob, and then the two buttons on it here to control, shooting and things like that for games like Arkanoid. There are 2 Arkanoid games for the PS1, so I'd like to probably get both of those, as well as some other stuff. But a couple games in the US actually do support this unintentionally, even though it's never got a release here. So if you ever play the game Block Kids, it's a simple little breakout type game. That actually still retains the control for this, and so that's what I've been testing it out with so far until I get some more games for it. But really happy to have this. I've also heard it works with some of the racing games, but I tried Ridge Racer, which I've read online that it worked with, and it doesn't, because you can basically you can steer with it, but there's no button to use for gas and brake. So one of these just goes straight to a start menu, so there's no way to control the car. It just sits in place. But really happy to have this official, piece of PS1, licensed controllers of the early era of the PS1. And I guess the other thing I should mention is Namco's title for this is the volume controller, because it kind of resembles a volume knob. So the other little nice bonus is when I got it, they actually included the original box with it. It was completely unexpected. So just a nice little bonus that somebody kept this, and I've got the officially branded Namco PS1 box for this. So sad we didn't get that accessory in the US, but it's really good quality, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting some more games for it. Some other stuff I got this month is just a stack of Game Gear plastic cases. I've got a few loose carts that I didn't have cases for, and they stack so much better in these cases because the top of the cartridge is kind of bowed out. So I'll just be adding those to my Game Gear collection to make those a little bit easier to stack. I also got an accessory that I needed. This is for the Sega Genesis. This is the official stereo AV cable for the Genesis 2. And it also works with the CDX, which is what I'm going to use it for. What I would say is when you find these in the wild, whether they have the box or not, 9 times out of 10, it's the mono AV cable. So I guess you had to be really premium if you wanted the stereo model that they made for the Genesis 2. Obviously it's composite, it's not a great output, but I do have a CDX hooked up to the my CRT TV, and I want to upgrade it to this cable because the one I have is a third-party one. It's kind of wonky, so just be kind of nice to have this. Plus, I like the box that it came with all this and everything, and I don't think this has ever been used. It's like got its original twist ties and things like that on it, so just add that to my Genesis collection and also give a little bit better quality signal for that. One other thing I was looking for from that Vegas trip that I found in the past from other trips out there was NES manuals. It seemed like in the past a lot of the stores out there had a lot of NES manuals to dig through and they would sell them off. This time a lot of the owners were like, oh no, we don't sell those, we keep those. I'm like, okay. But I found some at one store and they're just nothing real exciting, but just a few NES manuals I needed. First one of these is Tecmo World Wrestling. And then I also got the original Rambo. And lastly, Desert Commander. So nothing too exciting, but at least 3 more manuals off my list. And I think that gets me down to like maybe 175 more than I need to have the full set of all the NES manuals. So kind of a long-term goal. I'm not like aggressively buying them, but if I find them in the wild or, you know, just see something I really have to have online, I'll pull the trigger, and I'm just kind of like long-term goal. I'd like to have the full set of those. So getting down to the end of the video here, I've got one more thing to show, which is some magazines. A couple of these I also got from the Vegas trip. So first one of these is, I went to a store out there that had a big selection of used magazines, some of the ones that I really just don't have a lot of in my collection. I was only limited though by my suitcase and just how much weight I wanted to bring back with that, so I had to think through specifically like which ones I really wanted to get. So I narrowed it down pretty good. The first one of these is an issue of Hardcore Gamer. I've never bought any of these before, but this one was specifically a retro-themed issue. It had some pretty cool artwork on it. And I think this was done, the artwork was done by the same guy that did a lot of the GameFan covers, so just kind of liked that appeal to it. And it's got some nice character art on it, so haven't read it yet, but we'll check this out soon. I may get some more of these if I like it. You know, that publication's dead, but it's a little more recent than some of the other ones I typically buy. Another thing I got out there, though, was just a very weird find, so I had to grab it. This is the Electronics Boutique Holiday Catalog from 1992, I believe. And I flipped through it real quick in the store, and I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty neat. It has Neo Geo cartridges, as well as TurboGrafx 16 stuff in it, and a lot of just nice full-color pictures of all the box art and things like that. It was almost like a wish catalog just for games. I don't have a whole lot of history with Electronics Boutique. They came to the St. Louis market really late, and then GameStop bought them up and immediately rebranded them all as GameStop. So we didn't have Electronics Boutique stores. We had Babbage's back then, but not these stores. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I thought this was a really cool catalog, and I'll dig through this and kind of see what all they were offering in the winter of 1992. Pretty cool. The last magazine I got is a huge one off my want list. I've been wanting this for a really long time. I have not found one of these that has come up on eBay as a single issue in well over a year. So I made a deal with the buyer or with the seller, and it came really quick. I'm super happy to get this. This is GameFan Volume 1, Issue 3. So the 3rd issue of GameFan ever made, and it has a super cool Battletoads cover on it that was kind of profiling like all the second wave of Battletoads games that were coming out for Genesis and Super Nintendo. So really happy to have this. This is a big one off my GameFan collection want list. And I think I'm down to basically 2 issues, and I will have the full set of all the GameFans. So once I complete this set, I will definitely make a video on it, because I think it's a really cool magazine. The paper quality on these is just off the chain compared to what else is out there of the era. And the magazine was much thinner when it first started, but obviously the writing in here was pretty good. A lot of really cool games featured in this issue for like PC Engine CD and Neo Geo and things like that. There actually is a full ASO2 review in this issue, so I had fun reading that right after I just bought the game. But really happy to get this issue and knock another one off my need list. So that is about it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope 2021 treats us well. Stay safe out there. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.